Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. I'm pretty excited about today's video because I'm going to share with you some 4-ingredient crock-pot recipes. Now, if you've seen any of my other videos, I think you know I love a good crock-pot recipe. But honestly, the fewer the ingredients, the better. I think you can all agree with me on that. So I found some really great recipes and I'm really excited to share them with you. So let's go ahead and get started. So this is all that we're gonna need for our buffalo chicken. So I've got about 1.5 pounds of chicken breast. The recipe did say to use Frank's Red Hot Wings sauce, not just their normal hot sauce. So we'll see. I don't think I've tried this before, so I'm excited to try that. Then we're gonna use, I believe, 2 tablespoons of ranch seasoning mix and just a little bit of butter, but we're not actually gonna use the butter right now. That's gonna come in a little bit later. So I'm gonna get this mixed into the crock pot and get this cooking. I mixed in the ranch seasoning and then I set my crock pot to low and I let this cook for about 3 hours until the chicken was cooked through. My chicken's about done cooking through, so I'm gonna go ahead and shred that up, add in the butter, and then I will let this cook for another maybe 20 minutes or so, just until that butter melts down and everything is combined. Okay, so the chicken is done. You can see it's definitely pretty saucy. If you wanted, you could probably add some cornstarch in here to thicken it up a little bit. And I already tried it. It is definitely spicy. It has a kick to it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to serve it up. You could eat this any way you wanted. You could put it on a baked potato, would be delicious. I just happen to have a bun here and some celery. So that's how I'm gonna eat it. So I'm gonna go ahead and serve it up and show you how I finish it off. Okay, I'm just gonna drizzle a little bit of ranch on it. I think this will help it cool down just a little bit. And there you have it. That's an easy 4-ingredient dinner tonight. And then I just paired it with some rolls, some ranch, and a little bit of celery. I'm pretty excited about making some sloppy joes in the crock pot today. So these are the only 4 ingredients I need. Now the recipe does call for 3 pounds of ground beef. I'm actually gonna cut this recipe in half. So this is 2 pounds of ground beef. I'm only gonna use 1.5 pounds of that. Then I'll just need some mustard, some ketchup, and some brown sugar. This is just a brown sugar substitute. So the first thing I'm gonna do is go ahead and brown up my ground beef. Then I'll mix the rest of this together and we'll get it all in the crock pot. I decided to go ahead and just cook up both pounds of ground beef. I figured I could use the other 1/2 pound for another recipe, so that's what I did. In hindsight, I should have used a larger pan. This one probably wasn't quite big enough for 2 pounds, but oh well, I made it work. I used my small crock pot for this recipe because my large ones were being used for other recipes, but actually it worked out just fine. It was the perfect size for it. So after I put the meat into the crock pot, I made my sauce. So I mixed together my brown sugar, my mustard, and also my ketchup, and put that into the crock pot with the beef, just stirred that to combine it, and then I set the crock pot to low and let this cook for about 2 to 3 hours until we were ready for dinner, and then the sauce was nice and thick. So here's how our sloppy joe mixture turned out. So I added a little bit more water to it and a little bit more ketchup just to give it more of a saucy consistency. And then I admit I did add a tiny bit of garlic powder to it as well. It would probably be good too if you added some Worcestershire to it, but I'm just gonna go ahead and I've got a bun waiting. So I'm gonna serve this up. You could also serve this on a baked potato like I mentioned for the buffalo chicken. Lots of ways that you could serve this. but I'll show you what I'm going to serve it with here in just a second. So I went to Costco today and I found these potato skins. We love potato skins, even though I don't eat bacon. I need to pull the bacon off, but I thought that would be perfect to serve alongside our sloppy joes. So we're going to dig in. So here are the 4 ingredients I'm gonna need. Pretty simple. I already diced up about 1.5 pounds of chicken breast. I have these little mini potatoes. I'm not even gonna cut them up unless there are some big ones in there, but I'm just gonna wash these, give them a good rinse. Then I need some Italian dressing. You can use whatever Italian dressing you want. Olive Garden is my favorite, so that's what I'll be using. And then about a teaspoon, maybe 2 of this Italian dressing mix. So I'm gonna go ahead and get all this in the crock pot. Once I mix together all the ingredients, I'm going to set my crock pot to high and let this cook for 3 to 4 hours or until the chicken is done. Our chicken and potatoes are done cooking. Now I did go ahead and add a little bit of cornstarch to the sauce. It was really thin and I do prefer it to be just a little bit thicker, so I did add some of that. So now what I'm going to do is just plate this up and show you the final product. This turned out so good. It's really simple. The potatoes are nice and tender, but that Olive Garden dressing really infused itself into both the chicken and potatoes. So good. One last thing I'm gonna do is just top this with a little bit of parsley. I didn't have any fresh parsley, so dried parsley would be just fine, just to give it a little bit more color and some additional flavor, but I was really pleased with how this turned out. Super simple and delicious. So now I'm going to make my applesauce, and here are the 4 ingredients I'm going to need. I'm going to use 6 apples, some cinnamon, sugar, or I'm going to use erythritol, which is a sugar substitute, and then some vanilla. You are going to use water also, but I'm not going to count that as an ingredient. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and peel and core 6 apples, put that in my crock pot, and then I'm going to mix together my other ingredients and add that to the crock pot as well. Before I get started, I'm pretty excited to show you this. So I don't know if you've noticed, but, and I think I mentioned this in my last video, my cutting board tends to slide all over my granite countertop. So my husband, genius that he is, cut me a piece of nonstick shelf liner. And then now I just put my cutting board on top of it and look, it doesn't move. Genius. So I will admit I am horrible at removing the skins from apples, and I hate it because I always end up cutting my finger. And here I'm showing you, this is the way I usually do it, and it takes forever, and I do end up nicking my thumb multiple times. So after I got through the first apple, I decided that I would try to do it the fancy way that some people do. You know how they try to peel the whole apple in one piece? Yeah. I thought maybe I could do that. So I made it my mission over the next 5 apples to see if I could get any of them peeled in one piece. It didn't happen. I was pretty disappointed in myself, but I tried. I could get one of those fancy apple peelers, but I don't peel apples enough to make it worthwhile. And then I have to find some place to store it. And I have enough appliances and kitchen gadgets as it is. I don't need another one. So this ended up working out pretty well though. It did take less time to peel the apple that way than cutting it first and then peeling. So I learned a new trick today. So my apples are now nice and tender, which means they're done. They're nice and soft. So you can do this 2 different ways. If you have like a potato masher, you can use it. I'm just gonna use a fork and actually start mashing them because I like my applesauce to have a little bit of texture to it. Another thing you could do is just grab your, you could put it in your blender if you wanted, or you could use your hand mixer and mix this all up if you want a nice creamy consistency if you don't want a lot of chunks in it. But I'm just going to use my fork and go ahead and start kind of breaking some of this up and breaking it down into chunks. Okay, so I think that's a good consistency for me. You can see that it definitely still has some chunks in it, but I like it that way. I don't like it to be too smooth. So I'm gonna go ahead and serve a little bit up, let it cool down maybe a little bit more, and then I'll serve some up. So I just put a little bit in a bowl, and then I'm gonna add a tiny bit more cinnamon to it. Good. And I already tried this. It's really good. You can see it's pretty dark in color because there's quite a bit of cinnamon in it already. It's nice and sweet, but not too sweet. And it has the cinnamon flavor on it. Now the recipe says you can add up to 1 tablespoon of cinnamon if you like it. I put 2 teaspoons in, and I think that was plenty for me. So this turned out amazing. It's nice and hot still. I'm gonna go eat some while it's warm. Well, that's going to do it for this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, please consider giving this video a thumbs up and subscribing to my channel. If you hit the bell, you'll be notified every time I post a new video. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you back here soon with some new easy weeknight meals. Bye.